Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Zeti here, and I'm super excited. In case you're stopping by for the first time, welcome, and kindly just click the subscribe button, like our videos, and share. To my oldies, thank you very much. May is gone. It has been a month of mental health awareness. That's why I threw in here and there things with stress, with anxiety, and just to keep us abreast with what is happening. Okay, so we are talking health on this channel. In case you don't know what we talk about health and what is popping in the medical world. So today I want to start June up on the hype, and we're going to talk about H.Pylori. H.Pylori has been something that many people are even doubting, because you go to a hospital, you're diagnosed with H.Pylori, children are diagnosed with H.Pylori, and they're talked about acidity and all those things. So we're going to talk a little bit about H.Pylori, and in case you need more information and on the signs that you're having, kindly visit a doctor and you will be examined and explained to according to your symptoms. So what is H.Pylori? It is a bacteria that affects the gut. Most often it affects the esophagus, the stomach, and the small intestine. Okay, so the source of infection of H. pylori is contamination, and mostly fecal oral infection, where you don't wash your hands properly. Without washing hands, you contaminate the food that you're eating. You don't cook your food very well to kill the bacteria, and also eating raw and cooked, properly made foods, and just eating food that is not cleaned well, or using unclean water. So we've been having all these issues because many people right now, we are having shortage of water everywhere in the country, in Kenya, and people have resolved to use bowsers to bring them water. And these bowsers, most of the time you don't even know where the water is coming from. You don't know how it is handled at the source. Sometimes the source of the water itself is clean, but the handling before it gets to your table, before it gets to your glass, is the problem. Okay, so it goes through many hands before you get to take it. Even this water that is bottled, that we are using to drink directly in our workplaces, everywhere you go there is a dispenser and there is water. You are not sure where this water is coming from, because people want to make money, and they go to an extent of even fetching water from dams and all those places and just cleaning it up in whichever way and putting it in the bottles for you to drink. So you should be very cautious where you get you're drinking water from. Okay, so H. pylori has been talked about as the main cause of ulcers, of stomach ulcers. Okay, other than the stress that causes stomach ulcers and use of NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and H. pylori, it is the main cause of this. If you've been diagnosed with gastric ulcer or duodenal ulcer, when you get H. pylori, definitely it will worsen. And if you have any other stomach issues, if you get H. pylori, your symptoms will definitely worsen. So how do you know you have H. pylori? Okay, you cannot self-diagnose, but from the symptoms I've talked about, it is good that you visit your doctor and have you checked if you have H. pylori for sure. It might be something else. All right, you might be coming up with cholelithiasis or those things to do with the liver, because the pain sometimes radiates to the right side of your stomach and you won't even know what is happening here. So we have already started talking about pain. So you'll have upper stomach pain that worsens either when you're hungry or when you've eaten food. All right, you'll have heartburn, like reflux. You're burning up to your throat. Sometimes you might even lose your voice because of the heartburn and the reflux. All right, and also you might end up having diarrhea. There are people who present with diarrhea, others present with constipation, or you just have a lot of gas in your stomach keeps on rumbling, you're farting a lot, and sometimes the smell of the fat itself is very offensive. And it being a bacterial infection, it can also give you the constitutional signs, which are like fatigue, fever, headache, joint pains, and just lack of appetite, and also there's this symptom where you just have pain around the front of your chest, or sometimes at the upper back, or the shoulder pains. You just feel tiredness and fatigue sometimes. It can be as one of the symptoms of H. pylori. Let me not also forget nausea. Nausea is one of the things you should not ignore, because it always points to something is wrong somewhere. So how do we get to diagnose you with H. pylori? It is a very simple diagnosis, yeah, and it can only be qualified by a stool test. You go do a stool test for H. pylori antigen test, and then if they find out that it's positive, then definitely you have H. pylori. We don't rely on the blood test for H. pylori because it tests the antibody part of it, and the antibodies shows that you just have been exposed to H. pylori. So it might have been a long time infection, or it is an ongoing infection, we cannot know. So that one is not to go to. Let's do the stool test. All right, so now after we've done the stool test, how are we treating this H. pylori thing? H. pylori is treated by the H. pylori kit, yeah, and with me here I have the ESOS HP kit, which is a combination of two antibiotics and one acid reducer, which is also called a PPI. So these two antibiotics for my ESOS HP kit is levofloxacin 500 milligrams and amoxicillin 1 gram and an esomeprazole 20 milligrams. So this kit, one kit like this is for 7 days. I will not tell you how much it will cost. It depends with where you are and your pharmacies. And then inside this kit of 7 days, there are these kits for daily kits. And inside this daily kit, there are two kits, yeah, for morning and evening. All right, so it is not something that will be confusing to you. It will be easy to use. All right, on top of this, definitely your doctor will give you something to do with a probiotic, because this is strong antibiotics and they are not selective. They also clear your normal flora of the stomach, and you start having running stomach, and even the bloating might be worsened. So they'll give you a probiotic to replenish the good bacteria of your stomach to help you in digestion. All right, and also they might have to give you a painkiller if you're having any pains with you, or to add on top of the acid reducer, they might give you an antacid, yeah, if you're having a lot of reflux, if you're having a lot of heartburn, that will relieve you during the day after you've eaten. Okay, so now these side effects of these kits, most of the time you'll find gastric irritation, which will come with either diarrhea or bloating, or something strange with this one, you can have something called tendinitis. So you'll have joint pains, and sometimes it can be very worse that you cannot even be able to walk. So you have to discuss with your doctor in case of any of these symptoms coming up. So this kit, I said, is for 2 weeks, and then you'll go ahead for 4 weeks. You will use an esomeprazole, an acid reducer for 4 weeks. All right, so the treatment will go for a total of 6 weeks for you to clear the H. pylori. All right, as we said, H. pylori also affects children. Yeah, children to as young as 1 year, they can also be diagnosed with H. pylori. So this kit is not advisable for children because of levofloxacin per se, but the other two, amoxicillin and esomeprazole, are still okay for the children. Okay, but when you go to a facility, they will always come up with a kit that is child friendly and is acceptable by our Ministry of Health. Okay, so they will formulate for you a kit for the child, and depending on the symptoms of the child. All right, and the H. pylori itself, you might be treated, but when you're going to do the test again, that is after 8 weeks of treatment, when you're going to do the test again, it might turn out positive. All right, so that can be either a false positive, you have to repeat it after 2 weeks again, or it might be another infection. If you've not changed the source of water, if you've not changed your eating habits, if you've not changed your personal and food hygiene, it is something that you can get a reinfection. Okay, so if you're treated once, it doesn't mean that it will go completely. So you have to be on the watch out on what you eat, how you eat, and how you take care of your food. All right, So I hope you've learned a thing or two, and in case you have any questions, kindly drop it in the comment section below or just DM me and I'll be able to discuss it further with you. This is just briefing of it. It is not the whole meat, because this is a broad topic that has very, very many things to talk about. All right. So from me, it is bye, and thanks for staying by. See you in the next video, hopefully soon. Bye bye.